Not to be degrading or anything, but that's what I thought. Fucking bitch. Anyway, so back to the story.
You're alone again. I shouldn't be thinking of you, thinking of me. I know.
Hello, everyone. This is Mike, and this is the Daily Bread podcast, or the Weekly Bread, as I decided to call it. Well, I didn't really decide to call it last week, but it sounds like I just said that. And yeah, this is the podcast where I just talk about my life, or just little tidbits about my life. It's very narcissistic of me, I guess, to just be like, here's me, here's what I'm going to talk about. But it's very therapeutic to talk about this. And the moment I hit record, I have no idea 100% what I'm going to say the whole time, but I try to pick a topic. And this week, I'm going to talk about one of the songs I wrote. And I did an episode, let's see, this was episode 23. So that's about 4 episodes back. Well, I guess like 5, yeah, 4 episodes back, where I talked about For Like Ever. It was a song that I wrote, and kind of like a little history. Um, I was in a band when I was younger called Lane Meyer. You could see it. You can go to it on Instagram. It's Lane Meyer Band, and we were a pop punk band, kind of emo-ish. And this was a band that I started with my really good friend Chris when we were 16. We started playing together. We were 15? No, I think like 14. I'm sorry. We was it 14 or 15, something, whatever. We were in a freshman. It was our freshman year of high school. It was the second semester, which means that it was like November, I guess. And my buddy Chris had gone to the school called Pope John, and he failed out on purpose because he hated going there, and he went back to Jefferson Township High School. And we ended up being in the same health class. So gym would be gym for a certain part of the year, and then you'd have health class as the opposite part of it to teach you about, I guess, health stuff. So we ended up sitting next to each other, behind each other, or I was behind him, or he was behind me, whatever. And we started talking when he got back to school. We just became really good friends, and we've been really like best friends since then. And he was big into playing guitar. I was in like plays and stuff back then, and we started kind of just writing songs together. And I picked up the bass, learned how to play tablature, picked it up pretty fast. Wasn't great, still am not great, but we ended up just writing songs together. Started a band called Congress of Cow with my buddy Jeff DiMaselli, and then Andy Spratt was on guitar. And then I kicked Andy out of the band after like a year or so, I think. And then we started playing shows, and then that band broke up. Or that band, Jeff didn't want to tour. We got Sean Smith and Alan Rappaport, and then that started Lane Meyer and so forth, and we took off as that band. And then in Lane Meyer, I started writing songs, and I wrote about 7 songs in Lane Meyer. The first CD we put out, I wrote 2, and one of them I definitely want to talk about. The first song I ever wrote, well, technically the first song I ever wrote was in Congress of Cow. It was called Better Off. I remember this, and it was about my girlfriend at the time, Emily was her name. And we had broken up. This was our senior year of high school, and we broke up. This was like my first love. And so I wrote this really nasty song about her, but we didn't. We played it like by practice, I think twice, and that was it. So when Lane Meyer started, we I kind of was like, I think I want to start writing some songs again. So I wrote a song called Fuck You and Your Boyfriend, which is about Emily because we got back together, and I'll talk about that song later. But fun fact is that song is the intro and the outro to this podcast because a couple of reasons. One, I wanted to have something that was mine, so it kind of creates this whole, it ties it all together where even the lyrics are funny because it's like here alone again. I shouldn't be thinking of you, thinking of me, which it's like here alone. I'm talking by myself right now. And at the end, it's like thanks for it all. It's kind of like thanks for listening, but it's not what the song's about. But it kind of just goes along with the theme of this. But I also didn't want to have to get any kind of licensed music. And I also thought if this thing ever takes off, then maybe I can get some royalties for that song because that song is also on Spotify. If you look up Lane Meyer, look up Fuck You and Your Boyfriend, you can hear that full song. And I'll talk about that one day. But today, I'm going to talk tonight, well, actually, technically it's 6:50 on a Monday. and I'm going to talk about the song You're My Home. And this is a song I wrote years after Lane Meyer broke up. Actually, Christ, Lane Meyer broke up. I moved to California. I moved to California with Chris when he was living out there. We were roommates. He ended up leaving about after the first year of me being out there, and I stayed out there. And then I wanted to go to school. Came back to Jersey, or now I'm in North Carolina, but I moved back to Jersey and went to a graphic design school. And in doing so, I wanted to start playing music again. So I started this band called Arcade Academy. Now, Arcade Academy, well, technically I started it in San Diego. I am jumping all around here, but I started it in San Diego because I had these songs written after Lane Meyer, or yeah, it was after Lane Meyer, maybe a couple of them. I had some music written during Lane Meyer, but I put words to them afterwards. And there's a song, Diner Parking Lots, that I wrote, which is actually the intro and outro to my other podcast called This Was the Scene, again, for licensing reasons. And it just really worked. But I started Arcade Academy out in San Diego. We played a couple shows. We were really good. We were really tight. We practiced a lot. And then when I moved, it broke the band up. But I brought the band back to Jersey, played with my buddies Sean and Dan, and then we had kind of a revolving door of guitar players, and it's kind of like a pop punk kind of thing. And then we just stopped playing, and like we started playing in like 2005, 4 or 5. Probably stopped around 7 or 8, 2007, 2008. And then after that, I started writing acoustic stuff, which the song For Like Ever, which I talk about in episode 23. Let me double check. 23. That song was written on this 5-song acoustic EP that I created or just went and recorded, and that was about an ex-girlfriend. I don't really write anything, other songs about anything but like heartbreak or failed relationships. And so I did that in 2007 after finding out that she was cheating on me. And I think I did talk about that in an episode. Where was that? Yeah, that was actually when I talked about For Like Ever. And then uh, around that time, I started dating my ex-wife. Oh, there goes the sirens. I was living next to a ambulance depot. Um, so then I was married, or I started dating someone around 2008, and that she ended up becoming my wife, and then we ended up getting a divorce. So then at that time of getting divorced, I wrote these 2 songs called "You're You're My Home" and "Rock Bottom." Rock Bottom I'll talk about it another time, but "You're My Home" I'm gonna talk about this one today because I really like the way that this song came out. The song is really moody and it's really dark and it's very sad. Every time I listen to it, it kind of like chokes me up a little bit. Depends on what mood I'm in. But this is kind of encompasses like what happened when we got divorced. So I'll kind of like dip into the lyrics and dip out of it, but I'll also leave a link to it in the show notes. But "You're My Home," so the song title comes from what my ex had said in her vows. And I'm pretty emotional guy if I have to give speeches. I think every speech I've ever given at a wedding, because I've been a best man a couple times, I always cry. I don't know. I just always get emotional about it. Kind of emotional guy. And in my vows, I definitely cried. And even in the rehearsal dinner, I was like crying when I was like doing the speeches to my best man and best female, which is my friend Beth. And she didn't really cry. And later on, it was kind of like I don't think that was a sign that she wasn't in it, but there was some little like hindsight's always 2020. Like she didn't cry when she gave that speech, and she sold her wedding dress. I think like then that summer, like she didn't keep it. Which I didn't care about, but my mom was like really bummed about it, and she was like, "Why would you do that?" I was like, "Well, I don't know. I don't really see that as being an issue." Oh, sorry, my dinner is cooking. Let me turn this off. Okay. And but in the only time she really did cry was when she was doing her vows, because we wrote our vows to each other. And as much as I probably block out a lot of my marriage and the time I dated her, for the 6 years we were together, like I was really happy. I was like into it and I loved it. And you think I could like look back at the wedding that I had and be like, oh fuck that day, but it was such a fucking cool wedding that I still loved that day. It was a great day. And I had so much fun helping like put this thing together. Like we just teamed up on it and I created a website for it and like she designed all these things. So like she would come up with ideas and then I would design them and we just saved so much money. And we did our vows, we wrote our vows and it was in this barn in Pennsylvania. And she said this line, "You're my home," in when she was doing her vows, and this is the only time she got choked up. And there was this video that used to live online where it was our wedding, it was like a highlight reel, and so it's kind of this B-roll underneath us doing our vows, and like I'm crying and shit, and then she says this line, and like I just got really choked up, and she gets choked up, and I thought this was a great title for this song because it's it was like what she was declaring and promising in her vows, being like, we're going to be together. And she said this line, so it's like I'm almost bringing this into the song, kind of like, hey, remember that shit? Like, remember when you said this? Like, remember when you were all in and it was all bullshit? So that's why the song's called that. It's like taking from her vow. And it starts off, it's like really moody, and the first line's like, "We both look back on now, bloodshot eyes, new lives we found." It's kind of like I wrote this during the first couple months of getting separated, and like this shit crushed my fucking ass. I was a fucking disaster for about 2 years before I got out of this depression, and I was so angry because she left me for someone that we both knew, and they're still together, and they have a kid, and um, and it was just like a really fucked up thing because we were that couple. In my mind, that when people saw us, they're like, "Wow, you guys are really happy." Like, what's it like behind the scenes? I was like, "No, we really are happy," but apparently behind the scenes, which meaning like she didn't really communicate. She didn't really tell me shit was going through her mind, and just it could. I think things probably could have been saved. Do I look back at it now and wish that we were still together? Like, fuck no. Um, I don't, which is weird because when you're getting married to someone, you're committing to that person, and at that point in your life, you're like, "There's no way I can't not do this." And so now it's weird to look at that time and just be like, "Okay, I like where my life is now." But that line is, we both look back on now with bloodshot eyes, new lives we found. It's really like when we're both looking back at this time with these new lives we have, and like, after crying, I'll focus on the ground and every word that left your mouth. It's kind of like that moment that she told me she was leaving and why she was leaving and all this shitty stuff she said. It's like kind of painting this picture of me. And I swear to God, like I remember sitting on the ground in the doorway of our kitchen as she is telling me this from the dining room table, just like with her laptop open and kind of casually after we went to go to a therapy session because I thought it was like, oh, like yeah, it's like a tune-up. We'll go and we can, say the things that we probably haven't said to each other, and it's like gonna help be a healthy relationship. But it turned out she was doing this just so she could kind of ease out of the relationship and leave me in a good place, which I was just like, you're fucking whore. Sorry. That's just I don't think that, but that's what I thought. And not to be degrading or anything, but that's what I thought. Fucking bitch. Anyway, so back to the story. And I do remember from what my memory is, I was on the floor, and the line depicts, it's like I'll focus on the ground, meaning like I was staring at the ground because I couldn't look anywhere else, and I'll focus on the ground, meaning I'll stare at the ground, and I'll focus in every word that left your mouth, meaning like every shitty thing you fucking said. It's like that's what I'm gonna remember. So kind of like going through the lyrics here because I don't have them written down. Both. Well, 'cause there you are, feeling safe in arms that hold you up. Mine were meant for us. I think I'm kind of jumping around here, but yeah, there you are, feeling safe in arms, meaning like there she is with the guy that she left me for, feeling safe in arms that hold you up, meaning like, keep you safe. But mine were meant for us. Like my arms were the ones for you, for us, not his. But it's like, so there you are, with this new person, but like I was your home, so what the fuck? And that's what that was. And it's like, let's see what the lyrics are of this. I'm kind of just playing it and listening. Um, yeah, so sorry, I don't know if this like picked that up in my headphones, but um, there's another line. It's I wish I were you, and this was easy for me too, taken by your doubts, hidden so well by your vows. It's like, I wish this was as easy for me as it is for you because this seems to not phase you for shit. And, I wish I was you and this was easy for me too, meaning like, man, I wish this was easy for me because right now I'm having a really bad time. And taken by your doubts, hidden so well by your vows, meaning like taken by your doubts is, you were kind of on the fence of, well, I don't know if this is really going to work, so that's going to get me out the door. And hidden so well by your vows, obviously it's pretty straightforward, meaning like, your vows were bullshit because they obviously said something different. And the chords of the song are the same thing the entire time. It's just two chords the whole time. And then there's like this kind of like guitar lead or something I kind of add to it. It adds this like really sad tone to this thing. It almost sounds like it's like rain, kind of like a raindrop in a sense. It's just like or like a drop of water or something. It's just like kind of it just hits here and there. And so let's see. Hidden so well by your vows, because there you are, feeling safe in arms that hold you up. So it's repeating the chorus again, and then I go falsetto and I sing slow down, meaning like, yo, just like take a breather, don't do this, think about this for a second. So it's just slow down, and then it just goes into music, and I'll remember you when you told me you do too. I wish pain on you. I wish I could leave you too. And again, I'm kind of jumping around the lyrics, maybe I'm fucking them up, but I'll remember you when you told me you do too. So it's referencing again the vows, which goes back into "You're My Home," which is the snippet from the her vows. And I wish pain on you. I wish I could leave you too. It's like I never wanted anything bad to ever happen to her ever. And then it's weird to have that with someone, and then all of a sudden, within like snap of the fingers, you're like, I wish nothing but the worst fucking possible shit. Not like death or anything like that. It's more like I hope that you feel so much pain and you live to feel it because you're putting this on me and like you're doing such a dick thing right now. And just the fact that I said that line or anything up until that day, I mean, like I had her back through everything, and to just have that and to truly believe that was pretty brutal. Because when you get married to someone, in my mind, you've got their back. And I think that's why I focus so much in the comic. I do like right now I'm working on this book. It's this checklist for couples and it's very out there. It's like cute things to do and like super what would be the word? Uh, graphic things to do to each other. And the whole idea is to just, and I think subconsciously I started putting that together because I really want people when they're together to really believe and know that they should work through it. And I don't think any relationship's going to be 100% the whole time where it's just like things are joyful. Like there's going to be moments where someone's just going to fucking annoy you. But when the majority of the time you're just so stoked being around that person, it's like a really beautiful thing. And I think that I have this kind of like mission statement in my mind that my belief is you should stick through it and work it out. And I want other people to have that same feeling because I think that's the whole point of a relationship. So it's like this new book that I'm making, it's just this funny checklist of like things to do. Like one of them's like make out in the rain, and then another one's like, um, it'll be like make out when you both have morning breath, and the other one will be like, it gets graphic from there, and then it just jumps in and out. But I think the whole point of the book, and this isn't a sales pitch of the book, the whole idea is like, how do you find real communication, which I didn't have, and it goes back to that, which goes back to the song and it's kind of like, what the fuck? Like, where are you going? You wouldn't even try. Like, you didn't even give me a chance. You just checked out. You didn't tell me for a year, and you bounced. And I think that's just poor communication. And I think a lot of couples have that, and I think that's why I've stayed away from dating someone for so long because I just don't know if someone else is that aware. And I think I'm so fucking aware now. Not to like toot my own horn or anything, but I'm so self-aware and I've learned so much about myself and I'm still learning stuff, but I'm so open to these things. I think a lot of guys out there aren't as open about stuff like this and they just push it down and stuff it in and like don't let any of this stuff out. It's like why? Why would you not talk about this stuff? And I think just having that open communication with someone, like I expect that in return. If I'm going to be that open or this open, like that person better be super fucking open and push me as much as I would want to push them. But I think that's like why I don't forcefully go after trying to find a relationship. Like I don't like forcefully, that sounds awful, but I don't make an effort to like some people try on dating apps and all this stuff. It's like, I don't know, but like what if it's like I don't want to put any time into someone where else and they just turn out to just be this shit and they just hide stuff the whole time. Um, but yeah, so those are the lyrics. That's the breakdown for that. And then at the end of the song, it says, "I felt safe in us." I'm not a huge. I wish I could have got that part better. I'm not stoked in the way it came out, but the song in general, like I liked the melody and I liked the lyrics and I liked the feeling because it totally like nails what I was feeling as a song. Like it sounds like the way that I felt. Just super. It's so dark and it's just like a cloudy day, but like just I don't know. I think you'll kind of picture it for yourself in your head when you listen to it or if you listen to that song. And but yeah, that's that one. I have about I don't know, 20 other songs, 17 other songs I can break down. I'm kind of just like gonna pepper these in and out. But yeah, so it's if you want to hear it, I'll put a link, but it's also arcadeacademyrock.bandcamp.com. There's all the other acoustic stuff or songs are on there, and a couple other songs that I can break down later on. And Lane Meyer was the name of my band. You can see that I made an Instagram for that 2 years ago. We played a reunion show. It's Lane Meyer Band. That's on Instagram. And other than that, yeah, I mentioned this book that I'm doing. I'm pretty stoked on it. I bought these blank books to do hand drawing, custom hand drawn books, which I am doing. So if you want one, I am doing these, and they're gonna be like collections. And I'm just trying to figure out what to do to make this fun or just kind of expand on the comic. I'm flipping through one of them right now. But the couples checklist, the book to see if you should keep dating each other. I just think this is fucking hilarious. It just came to me last Monday. I think I was sleeping. I woke up. I was like, oh my God, I have to do this. And I just started keeping a notepad um, in my phone. It's exactly what I do with the Daily Bread comic. I always have random thoughts. I always jot them down. And then every morning I have something to kind of like look at to see what I should draw, or sometimes I just literally think of something in the morning. But the book, the inside or the foreword, I guess, this book is a checklist of things couples can do to learn more about each other. I hope this brings you closer together, or it shows you both that you're an awful match and you should atom bomb the fuck out of this shit immediately. Love, Mike. And that's the new book. So yeah, if you want to support the comic or help out, I have a Patreon page. It's patreon.com/dailybread, BRED, and it's $1 a month just for just being generous. There's $3 a month to have access to my close friends thing on Instagram and get discounts on merch. And then there's the $1,000 one to have a big custom book drawn for you, and it'll actually kind of reference things about you in it, along with a lot of my comics. I'm just going to redraw, and I also put I would write a song about you, and then I'd animate it, all for $1,000. It's $1,000 a month, but I think you could probably get away with it for just the 1 month. But if someone was to pay $1,000 for that, sure. I mean, my main thing is I'm an animator in IRL, drive80.com, drive80.com. Do a lot of things here. So, but okay, cool. That's all I got to say. And 25 minutes. Woo, damn, talked a lot. Yeah, go enjoy life.